What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about this live-action Zelda movie that is officially happening. First, let me just start that I think it is a baller kind of move, Nintendo coming out and just announcing this in the late stages of a random Tuesday. There is no, obviously, Tears of the Kingdom, but that was a while ago. Nothing going on today in terms of Zelda or Nintendo. They just drop it. You don't have a star to announce. You can't say who Link is going to be. You can't do any of that. Instead, you announce, producer, director, right? Like that kind of stuff. And in one sense, I think that, I laugh kind of because I think that is pretty, elite. I think that is honestly kind of cool. At the same time, let me throw out that I am legitimately nervous about this project. Now, take that for what it's worth, because number one, I'm sure a lot of us, including probably myself, were not very high on the idea of a Mario movie. Right now, there is a couple differences. Number one, the Mario movie is not live action, and I think that is best for it. For Zelda, would I have preferred it to not be live action? Yes. Did we all kind of expect it to be live action? Yes. So that's where I think we're at. This movie probably should not be live action, but they're gonna do it anyway, and that immediately sets it, I think, it sets it up very differently than what Mario was. So while yes, we've probably had similar feelings about Mario as we do now Zelda, it is slightly different just in, I don't know, is live action versus animated. I don't think is that a genre of movie? It's a different entire beast altogether, okay? So you have that. Secondly, you have who's attached to it. Now, I actually find it pretty interesting that Sony is a really, really big part. I think they have the worldwide distribution rights. They are, they're with them and Nintendo in terms of making this thing. So that's kind of cool, I suppose, that you're bringing in these companies. And then you have who is, part of this. So you have the man by the name of Wes Ball, who, honestly, I don't know who the guy was, but he did the Maze Runner movies, which I think my sister liked. I've never watched any of them. I don't think they were all that well received, but look, I can't talk about it too much because I've never seen it. I don't really think it's fair to criticize the guy if I haven't watched the movie. He's also doing the new Planet of the Apes movie that comes out next year. So that, to me, is probably going to be a much better look as to how talented the guy is, what he can do, because that's actually it. He's only done the movie that isn't out yet, and then Maze Runner movies. And so, yeah, it's not, outrageously good, the resume, but at the same time, he's kind of, 43 years old, kind of unproven, okay? So you have that. You have like I mentioned earlier, there is nobody attached as Link. Now, people are throwing the jokes around, and I mean, the funny, scary thing is, are they really jokes? Tom Holland. Now, Tom Holland is Nathan Drake. Tom Holland is most likely going to be one of the voices of the Jak and Daxter, which the director of Uncharted already let that out of the bag that he was going to do a Jak and Daxter movie. Tom Holland is going to be in a lot of these things, right? Now, because Sony has such a big hand in it, and you have Miyamoto, right there, I think he's, watching over it, making sure everything's good. How much does Sony have to throw in? I mean, that's kind of the thing, right? It could be a joke. People could be bringing up Tom Holland. I could be bringing up Tom Holland as just a cruel, sick joke. But at the same time, I don't think it's a 50-50 shot, but I think you got to give it 10-15% chance that this man right behind me is going to be played by Tom Holland, and that would be something. I don't know exactly what, but you have that. And then you have the writer, and the writer could be the biggest red flag of the entire thing. His name is Derek Connolly. He wrote Jurassic World, and he wrote Detective Pikachu. Now, Jurassic World, I actually have liked most of, there's been 3 of them in terms of Jurassic World. I like the first, and I like the third. I wouldn't say I love them. I don't think they're well written. I don't think they're all that amazing just in general. I think the spectacle of them really helps. I think the last one was helped a lot by cameos or, bringing back legacy characters. Second one I despise. I absolutely hated it. But the third one I kind of leaned into just its goofiness and kind of just let it go. Point being, that's not the greatest resume either. So you have a director who has a very limited resume / unproven, and then a writer who also almost the same thing, not exactly though, right? Detective Pikachu, I will tell you this, and I have recently, in the last couple months, I went back and I actually played for the very first time the Detective Pikachu game. there's not a lot to go off of there, okay? I really don't think it's all that great of a game. So while I don't think the movie is like outrageously good at all, I would say maybe it's mediocre, average, whatever word you want to throw. It is so much better than the game, to me, that it's not even funny. So maybe part of that's on this guy, and that would be good. That would definitely be good. So bottom line, I can't say I'm like out of my mind excited. You can count me to be intrigued. Definitely, it's the Leonardo DiCaprio. Well, maybe not entirely. You know, that gif of him saying, you have my attention. It's not entirely that. You definitely have my attention and curiosity, but I don't know if this thing's going to be good. Like, even with Mario himself, with Chris Pratt, and it's like, I was never part of, like, this internet, like, outrage thing against Chris Pratt, like, all that stuff. I was never really that big of a fan, though, of the casting up until the movie came out, because unlike, I think part of the hatred of it was just on Chris Pratt for some reason, and then the other part was like, does it actually make sense? I was on that part, where it's like, I don't know if he can actually pull it off. I think he did really good. I actually think that was really good. So my point is, there were some like warning signs that turned out to not really be that big of a deal when it came out. When Mario came out, it was a kid's movie, but it had adult, kind of parts to it where you could watch it as a 27-year-old. My child watched it. Like, we had a lot of fun with that Mario movie, and I think they did an incredibly respectful job. I think they did just a really good job. And Zelda, yeah, like, live action is going to make it a whole lot, like, it's going to be more tough. 1,000% is going to be more tough. And there's some, alarms that you could probably ring, especially when you kind of start to do the casting. But at the same time, you kind of have to just let it play out and see if they can replicate it. And one final thing to throw in, if you're going to do live action, and I've actually seen other people say it as well, Metroid. If you're going to do any game in live action, I think Metroid is the perfect one to do. The issue being, I don't think anybody would watch it. Metroid is a phenomenal game franchise, but it's notoriously never really sold all that well, so I just highly doubt that a movie would like take off. Although, maybe it doesn't have to be live action. Maybe you could do something smaller and make it work. I don't know. One day. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.